Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Today, we're going to be talking about Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns apparently said something on SmackDown that I actually brought up on the live stream last night. Now it's news. Is Roman Reigns going to Hollywood? I don't know about you guys, man. I should be in fucking Hollywood, man. I mean, look at me. Look at me. We also got Survivor Series news coming out of last Sunday's terrible Survivor Series. We got your AEW news for the week. I got updates on Johnny Gargano. Where is he going? What about his wife? We got a bunch of things we're going to talk about today on episode 398 live. I got my cold beverage though, guys. I got my seltzer. My liquid death. But I'm headed to the OTS venue, man. I don't know what you guys are doing right now. I see you guys are enjoying yourself in the chat. But I think you'll have a better time at the OTS venue. That's where I'm going. But as I go to the venue, I got one question for you guys, man. I got one question for you. What are you guys drinking? I'll see you guys over there.
AEW successful? Why is Tony Khan running his promotion better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are running Monday night and Friday night? Long-term booking.
on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me on this Saturday evening. It is November 27th, 2021. I am JD from New York, and this is Off the Scripts, episode 398, live on YouTube. Thank you guys as well for joining me on Spotify and iTunes and Podbean. And wherever audio platforms exist, Off the Script is there. Thank you guys for joining me on those platforms as well. I wanted to go live today because I'm actually getting a little tired of the regular routine. Usually I do the podcast on Friday for Saturday. Sometimes when I just don't feel like recording all day long, I would rather go live on a Saturday or a Sunday. And I've been contemplating changing up the entire formula for the new year. So I'm still in my mindset about what I want to do, but I honestly think the way YouTube is going, that live streams are going to be the way moving on into the future. And I want to make sure that I'm covered on all ends. So if you guys see more Off the Scripts, the flagship show on the weekend live, don't be surprised to see me live doing the show because, you know, the whole goal of this is one day, and I'm fairly confident that it will happen at some point in the future. I'd love to be on nationally syndicated radio, whether it be Sirius or what have you. I want to be prepared for that. And I feel like with the live streams that we do, I think we inch closer and closer and closer to that. And I would love for that to actually happen in the near future. So if you guys see the podcast live, I think that will be the way of the entire show moving on into the future. But being that is now out of the way, I have news. We have a lot of news to go over today. And it is a action-packed show, to say the least. We have news on Roman Reigns. Apparently, Roman Reigns said something on SmackDown last night, which, by the way, was absolutely terrible. SmackDown is fucking terrible as of late, and you guys, I'm sure, are well aware of that. Roman Reigns said something on Friday night that really got people talking. Now, he was on Jimmy Kimmel, I believe, or Jimmy Fallon, one of them shows. Nobody watches late-night television anymore. It's horrendous. But he was on one of them, and he mentioned something along the lines of Hollywood, and he kind of insinuated that this is, you know, what he may do in the future and how long he has in WWE. It may be sooner rather than later that he leaves WWE. And now it's being reported, after what he said last night, that his time in WWE may be where he leaves, and it's going to be a sooner rather than later situation. And I don't think WWE is prepared for that to happen. I don't think WWE is prepared for that at all. You know that they're not prepared for that. And I've been expressing this weekly. They are not prepared for Roman Reigns to leave. They're not even prepared for Roman Reigns to drop the fucking title. What are they going to do when Roman Reigns decides to leave? They are in some serious fucking trouble. They're in some serious trouble right now with the way their SmackDown roster is built. So we're going to talk about that today. I got news on Johnny Gargano. He may not be leaving WWE, but he's definitely exploring all of his options. We got the latest on him. I got news on Top Dollar. Apparently Top Dollar was welcomed to Busted Open Radio, and he had some more ridiculous things to say on Busted Open with Dave LaGreca and Bully Ray. I got news on Jackson Ryker and why he was let go. I got news on Ronda Rousey, Scotty to Hotty. As you guys know, he quit WWE. I got news on AEW as well. Fans apparently were yelling slurs at Cody Rhodes. On Wednesday's Dynamite, Cody reactivated his Twitter account. Got news on Jim Ross. The Young Bucks signed new deals with AEW. I got news on Revolution, when and where it's happening, and what Tony Khan has planned already for Revolution, being that it is the next pay-per-view for AEW. We got an action-packed show tonight, right here on episode 398 of the podcast. Make sure you guys go and follow me on social media, man. At JDfromNY206, that's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Hit that thumbs up. I see 415 likes on the live stream right now. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Let's try for a soft 750 likes. If you guys have not hit the like button, please go and do so. I would really, really appreciate it. Super chats are open. You guys could get your super chats in. We'll hang out at the end of the show as we usually do on the live streams. If you guys want to join the VIP club here in the venue, make sure you guys hit that join button, become a channel member. You guys get custom emotes that you could use in the chat. You guys get the custom emotes that you could use in the comment section. And you guys get those badges next to your name. Make sure you guys go and hit that join button and become a VIP right here on Off the Scripts. Go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. There is a ton of stuff on the channel, including last night's SmackDown and Rampage post-show. We got Dynamite, which I did solo because Jesse was actually at the show. I did NXT this week. It was a great turnout for NXT. I guess you guys missed me on Tuesday nights. And then Monday Night Raw, as always. So make sure you guys go and check that stuff out. Everything you need is listed on the homepage. So go and check that stuff out. Go and get your t-shirts, man. Bonfire is the place, the official home of the podcast. And you guys can get these new throwback-inspired NWO designs. We got the black and white OTS. And we got the Red Wolf Pack in the LTB, long-term booking. As you guys know, I am big on long-term booking. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Bonfire.com. Link is in the description for the official Bonfire Off the Script storefront. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Also, Patreon, patreon.com/JDfromNY206. If you guys want to support via the Patreon page, great stuff over there, exclusive stuff. We got the OTS Dugout mugs. We got the Are We Live t-shirts. And we got the new Off the Script hats over there as well. So make sure you guys sign up annually, and you guys will have that waiting for you. No questions asked. And today's show is sponsored by Blue Chew. My great friends over at Blue Chew, BlueChew.com. You guys are going to use code JD at checkout to get your free sample of their service. And that's it. BlueChew.com. We'll talk about my friends over at Blue Chew a little bit later on in the show. And I want to thank them for once again supporting the podcast on episode 398. Let's get into the news, guys. And Jesse is in the chat. I see you, clown. I see you, clown. Thunder Rosa, I'm assuming, is making plans for your funeral. So you better be careful about what you say, bro. I'm telling you right now. Especially if you go to that Warriors of Wrestling show in Chicago, man. She'll be there. She'll be there. Don't piss her off, man. She's already angry at you as it is. There's Issa in the chat, too. What's up, Issa? All right, let's get into the news. WWE doesn't know what to do with these new documentaries that they have laying about. The one that I was interested in was the Lex Luger one. I was interested in the Lex Luger one. I figured that they would do that on 4th of July, being that it would kind of correlate with the beginnings of Lex Luger slamming Yokozuna on the USS Intrepid here in New York City, and then taking the Lex Express all over the United States on his way to SummerSlam in 1993, where he would then challenge Yokozuna, and he would lose the match by, I believe, a disqualification, and then he celebrated because he didn't win the championship, but he knocked out Yokozuna with his bionic elbow. I don't know what he's celebrating for. That's the one I was interested in. The other one that I was interested in was the super fan Vladimir story. That was actually supposed to debut after WrestleMania this year. And WWE has not aired these documentaries at all. The Vladimir trailer garnered 132,000 views on WWE's official YouTube channel. Now, according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, WWE is yet to confirm the release of these documentaries, even though these films have been 100% post-produced and completed. Mike Johnson says, like other projects, it's just sitting there, even though it is 100% post-produced and completed. He then added that they have no communication between the company and Vladimir at all. There's no communication between WWE and Vladimir in recent months. There was talk WWE was trying to spin off their original documentaries for additional revenue by licensing them to a third party, potentially A&E, but there's been no word on that front, and thus Vladimir and the documentary of Lex Luger, they sit in limbo. Johnson said the film aired for a week during the Los Angeles Shorts Documentary Film Festival and received rave reviews from audience members, adding that it is nothing short of excellent, one of the all-time best docs WWE has ever produced. And Mike Johnson's seen it. Having seen the doc, I can tell you that if WWE doesn't change the strategy, they'll have to change the end of it whenever they go and put it out, because as of January 1st, some of the ending will have been outdated. He also called on WWE to release the documentary as it would do a lot of good for Vladimir, who's suffering from health complications. Johnson praised Vladimir for being a dedicated fan throughout the years and said WWE making a documentary on him truly energized him in a way that he needed during this truly rough period of his life, end quote. You know, everything I talk about as far as WWE, everything that they do is monetarily influenced. And I don't really see this as being anything but monetarily influenced. Now, I don't really give a shit about the WWE Network. My love for the WWE Network was at high levels when it was a standalone app. As soon as they moved to Peacock, I haven't watched anything. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. I haven't watched a fucking single thing on Peacock. The only thing I do on most weeks, because sometimes I don't review it, sometimes I don't watch it, sometimes I'd rather come on here Tuesday night and game for you guys on my second channel. I don't watch NXT live on Tuesday night. Sometimes I wait till Thursday and I watch it commercial free on the app or on Peacock. That's the only thing I watch on Peacock. And then, obviously, the special events, the NXT shows that's coming up. We got War Games coming up, the WWE pay-per-views. That's all I use it for. I pay $4.99 or whatever the fuck it is to watch the WWE pay-per-views every single month. But I haven't watched or meddled in Peacock. Now, if it was the standalone app, if this was a year ago, I tend to watch a documentary. I go out of my way to watch this. I go out of my way to watch this or some classic stuff. I haven't looked at anything. And I'm the type of guy that comes up, you know, around Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble, and I go back and watch some of these old shows. I have not done that. I didn't do it for SummerSlam. I didn't do it for WrestleMania. I didn't do it for Survivor Series. I don't care. I think the navigation on Peacock and the WWE app on Peacock is terrible. I think it's a terrible look. It's a terrible feel. I don't care. And if this was on Peacock, I'd actually go and watch this. Vladimir was a part of my childhood. Every time we watched a WWF pay-per-view, Vladimir was there. He was always on camera, always front row. He's like the green shirt guy that we see now. Or the Brock Lesnar fan. Or that fucking morbid-looking guy with the fucking emo haircut that's sitting next to his mother. You guys know who I'm talking about. I haven't seen him lately. Maybe he's not a fan anymore. I don't know. I won't blame him. But Vladimir was a part of my childhood, man. He was always there. We always knew we didn't know his name then, but we knew who he was. He was at these shows every fucking month. I'd watch that. But everything that revolves around WWE is a monetarily made decision. I guarantee you, this is a Nick Khan decision. Ever since Nick Khan came on board a year ago, things have not been right. Things have been only right in WWE as far as making money, and that's the reason why Vince McMahon gave him so much power. He's legitimately number 2 in command right now is Nick Khan. I guarantee you this is his decision. Let's shop it around. Instead of putting it on Peacock behind a $4.99 paywall, let's sell it to A&E. Maybe we can get some other network to buy this and put it on their network and release it. during a ratings month or season premiere month or whatever the case may be. This is a Nick Khan decision. So if you're upset with the lack of content on the WWE Network, you could probably end up blaming Nick Khan because he's shopping the content around and shopping it to other networks instead of putting it behind a paywall for $4.99 on Peacock. He figured he could make more money by selling it to an A&E or another network or another cable station to air it instead of airing it on Peacock. This is a Nick Khan decision. And you're going to be seeing more of this as the months roll on. And I'm not surprised by that whatsoever. It sucks for the fans, but when has WWE ever given a shit about the fans? Never. And they are getting worse and worse as the years go on. They don't give a shit about what you and I want. They don't give a shit about what anybody wants except what's going to fill their pocket. And it sucks. This is why a lot more people are jumping on board with AEW than they are with WWE nowadays. Let's get into some Survivor Series stuff. There was a minor freak out backstage during the Survivor Series main event between Big E and Roman Reigns. Not really the best main event that Roman Reigns has had this year. I thought it started off a little boring, a little slow. It ended up picking up and it ended up being a good match. But out of all the matches that Roman Reigns has had this year, it was probably the worst match that he's had on pay-per-view. And I mean that in no offensive way or disrespect to Big E. I'm a big E fan. I'm a big Xavier Woods fan. I like when the New Day is semi-serious and less joking around. But I didn't think this match was really all that great as far as what we know of Roman Reigns and the body of work that he's given us over the course of 400 plus days for his Universal title reign. It's just the build. WWE had no build for Survivor Series. They gave you literally 1 week of Big E and Roman Reigns on TV to themselves to build this match. It's not really what I think as far as WWE caring about Big E and Roman Reigns to have the main event of Survivor Series. It sucks. That's why Survivor Series was an epic fail. But there was a minor freak out. The show was supposed to go off the air by 11:35 p.m. Eastern, and it looked like they were running long, but they were able to finish on time. It was noted that there were people backstage wondering why so much time was given to the entrances for the men's elimination match, as those entrances took up so much time on the show. Now, earlier in the week, there were reports that stated that Becky Lynch and Charlotte would close out the show and that Roman Reigns and Big E would open the show. But that was actually not what happened. Big E and Roman Reigns closed. Charlotte and Becky Lynch opened. I think it was actually for the best because looking back at the endings of those matches, I don't really think either one of them really stood out as a main event match. The ending of the Big E Roman Reigns match just went off the air with Roman Reigns winning the match. The ending of the Charlotte Flair Becky Lynch match was a semi-fuck finish because Becky Lynch, the babyface, cheated to win, and then that was it. There was nothing that happened. There was no big screw job finish. There was no controversy. So either one of these matches, it is what it is. I think they actually ended up doing the right thing by having the women open and then the men close. And if that's the case, if there was no big ending for either one of these matches, you're obviously going to give the main event match to the most important titles in the company, which is the WWE and the Universal title. It's no snide remark to the women. It's no disrespect to the women, but the women's championships are not as important as the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship. So clearly I'm going to go with Roman Reigns and Big E. That's just the way it is. That's the story that I think should really be told here. The women, fine. There was probably the best match of the night, but those titles aren't more important than the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns and Big E, the WWE Championship. Give me a break. Give me a break. But they did announce, or PW Insider did announce, the producers for the matches at Survivor Series. Chris Park, a.k.a. Biss, he produced the Nakamura and Damian Priest match. It was all right. Fuck finishing that match. I don't think it should have been on the pre-show. The Battle Royal should have been on the pre-show, but who am I? That's just what I thought. Tyson Kidd produced the Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair match. Thumbs up to Tyson Kidd. He's fucking excellent. Every time he's a part of something, you know it's great. Sean Daivari, Adam Pearce, and Shane Helms, they did the men's elimination match. Outside of the countouts in that match, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens. I thought it was an okay match. I wish something was on the line in that match. I wish there was a little bit more on the line there. But it was a decent match. It was definitely better than the Women's Survivor Series match, I'll tell you that. Shane Helms produced the Usos and RK Bro match. Tyson Kidd and Pat Buck. Here I am praising Tyson Kidd. He was actually part of the women's elimination match. That match was awful. Every bit of that match was awful outside of Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, which maybe they had 2 minutes of in-ring time together. And then Michael Hayes, he did the Roman Reigns and Big E match, which he always is a part of the Roman Reigns matches in the main event. So that was the minor freakouts. And WWE, I think they have bigger things to freak out about. Survivor Series was a complete fail. That's what they should be worried about, and that's what they should be freaking out about. Hopefully we get a different Survivor Series next year, and this brand versus brand bullshit goes away completely. Rhea Ripley, she actually was critical, and this may actually come back to bite her in the ass. Rhea Ripley was critical of the Survivor Series booking decision to leave Nikki Trash off of the Survivor Series women's team. Rhea Ripley did an interview before the match with Sportskeeda where she was asked about her then tag team champion partner, Nikki Trash, because I say then because they lost the titles to Carmella and Zelina Vega on Monday Night Raw, which I don't know what that does for the women's tag team titles. You're just taking the titles off of one team to put it on another team, and you're right in the same situation. There are no other teams for those titles to really be defended against. Why did they give Zelina and Carmella the tag team championships on Monday night? Because Nikki Trash is about to get released. That's my honest opinion. I think she's going to be as good as gone when the next round of cuts comes. Rhea Ripley, she deserves to be a single star. It's going to take a mega amount of work to rebuild Rhea Ripley. She is fucking creatively buried. This woman has absolutely zero momentum, man. Like an iceberg is Rhea Ripley. Ice cold. Why did they give the titles to Zelina and Carmella? The only thing I could really come up with is, and this was a story in recent days, Zelina Vega said that Vince McMahon apologized for leaving her off the 9/11 show. I honestly think that they are paying Zelina back for doing her dirty for leaving her off the 9/11 show. She got gear for her father made. Her father passed away in the 9/11 attacks. They're really giving to Zelina, which is great. It's fine. I don't mind Zelina. I had a problem with her re-signing with the company. I think she went back on her morals. I think she kind of sold out. That's my honest take there. But go and make your money. Go and do whatever you got to do. Now she's being booked decently, which is nice to see. The Queen of the Ring tournament was fucking terrible. I mean, the whole gimmick sucks. But the reason why they won the tag team championships, I feel, was to kind of reward Zelina Vega for leaving her off that 9/11 SmackDown episode where she was supposed to be on the show. She did PR for WWE earlier in the day. Like I said, she got gear in memory of her father made. She never got to use it on that night. So I feel like they are kind of saying I'm sorry to Zelina Vega. But let's get back to Rhea Ripley. She says this about Nikki Trash being left off the Survivor Series team. I think I'm more disappointed than Nikki is because she is such a positive person. Yes, I know she's upset, but I am very upset for her because I know that she worked so incredibly hard for everything she's accomplished. She's been in this business for a lot longer than I have. To not have her on the team is a little bit disrespectful. To have one half of your tag team champions on the team and not the other half, it seems a bit silly to me. We obviously work well enough together to be champions, so why not have Nikki on the team with us? I think we could really make some magic together. I'm just disappointed. I really am. End quote. You know, like I said, Rhea Ripley's going to have a lot of work to do. WWE's going to have a lot of work to do to make me believe in Rhea Ripley again. The last time Rhea Ripley was booked creatively correct was when Triple H was in charge of NXT, and she was winning the NXT Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. That was a great moment, a great payoff there. This interview may actually come back to bite her in the ass, because this is the same thing that always happens. They complain about creative, they're critical of creative, they're outspoken about creative, and what happens? It always gets back to WWE. Somebody goes out there, listens, and they take, and then they tell Bruce, they tell Johnny Ace, they tell Vince McMahon. It always gets back to upper management, and then that's when the burial continues. I don't think this is going to be a good look for Rhea Ripley. She's out there publicly bashing creative for leaving Nikki Trash off of the Survivor Series team. Now, I know it doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense. But this is what WWE thinks of Nikki Ash. They don't really give a shit about Nikki. They made their money off of Nikki Trash. They made their money. Now she's no good to WWE. The run is over. You lost the titles. They made their money off of whatever fucking stuffed animals and fucking t-shirts that you made for Nikki Trash. Now it's over. Vince got bored. Vince got bored. She had a 6-month run, and that was enough to say, you know what? We're done with her. She's on the list of cuts. Let's get rid of her. She will be gone. Give it 6 months. It may be less than that. She will be released from the company. She wasn't on Monday Night Raw. Right, well, she was on Monday Night Raw, but she lost the title. She won't be on Monday Night Raw moving forward. I doubt they give her anything to do. The big women's storyline on Monday Night Raw is Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, which they're not even doing right. And then Bianca Belair versus Doudrop. Rhea Ripley and Nikki Trash have been moved to the side, and they're not really doing much with either one of them. Rhea Ripley obviously is the better of the two, but I think Nikki is going to be one of those women that is on the list of cuts. Nick Khan's hit list. We'll see what happens there, but I don't think this is a good look for her. Someone's going to get wind of this, and then goodbye, Rhea Ripley. You may be buried for the next 6 months. There was a lack of Google trend interest in Survivor Series. I could tell you, because normally pay-per-view reviews do upwards towards 70, 80,000 views. Survivor Series didn't break 50 for me. Everybody else in the community, maybe 30, 35. I was up there around 50. This pay-per-view was absolutely meaningless to everybody. There was a lack of interest. But WWE doesn't seem to care. They wanted to go one way and do this build like a UFC pay-per-view, which I'll get to in a second. Statistics point to there having been a lack of interest in this past Sunday's Survivor Series pay-per-view. Now, it's not all that surprising, to be honest with you, considering that WWE barely promoted the show on TV until the week leading up to it, and none of the matches had any stakes whatsoever, which is a common fucking problem with everybody in the community. As reported in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, the show did 200,000 Google searches, which is what you would usually expect for a typical B show in WWE, not a supposed major show like a Survivor Series. It certainly wasn't treated as a major show this time around, but on name value alone, the 200,000 searches is less than what is expected. Just for a little comparison, AEW had All Out on September 5th, and they did over 500,000 Google searches. And my review was obviously up there amongst the most viewed. I think it did 70, 80,000 views for All Out. We had a major night for All Out on September 5th. But WWE, this is what they get in return, man. You have nobody to blame but yourself. Survivor Series is a dead concept, as it is. It's even a more dead concept with the fact that you got this Raw versus SmackDown bullshit that nobody gives a fuck about, and then there's nothing on the line at all. So how do you expect people to watch this show and give a shit about something when nothing is on the line? Then you want to throw in the fact that you barely fucking promoted it. You put all your resources into Crown Jewel. You gave nothing to Survivor Series. What did you expect to happen? Then I read the report that WWE wants to go in the UFC direction. UFC doesn't really do much promotion. They let the card speak for itself. They feel like the last week or 2 weeks of build is enough to sell a show. You aren't UFC, motherfucker. You're not UFC. You're not Dana White. This is WWE, where storylines are imperative to your build and interest for a pay-per-view. Dana White could put 2-3 matches together with top-tier guys, and you're going to go out and pay for it and watch it. It's a fight. This is a soap opera for men. I need a reason to watch two men in pro wrestling fighting. I need story. I'm sorry. I can't watch two guys wrestle and there's nothing behind it. You're not UFC. You need to get that out of your fucking mentality. You need to get that out of your head. This is not the way to build pay-per-view for WWE. So when you want to go and do that, and then you want to look at the 200,000 searches, it's less than expected. WWE has nobody to blame but themselves. Good for you. Hopefully this now issues a change to the fan base for next year's Survivor Series, but I'm not holding my breath on that. Survivor Series was a complete and utter failure in every sense of the word. Seth Rollins. We came to Monday night, and Seth Rollins was supposed to have a match with Finn Balor, and that did not happen. Seth Rollins attacked Finn Balor from behind, and the match never got underway. But then the attack happened on Finn Balor. Seth Rollins walked up the ramp, and then we get this overly fat slob who ran around the barricade, ran up the ramp, and tackled Seth Rollins to the ground, and nobody knew exactly what was going on in the moment that it happened. Some people on social media thought it was a part of the show, but in fact, it was a fan who jumped the barricade, attacked Seth Rollins, and then he got tossed out of the Barclays Center. So then as the hours and the day went on, we found out a little bit more about this individual. Apparently, his name is Elijah Spencer. And this guy was apparently catfished by a troll Seth Rollins account. And he was swindled out of $3,000 from a Seth Rollins troll account. I'm trying not to laugh in this situation. I hope this guy is a listener of the show. This guy is a complete and utter fucking idiot. This guy may be one of the dumbest fucks I've ever talked about on this show. This story does not make any sense. It's legitimately a fucking comedy show. It really is. And I urge everybody to get the fuck off social media. Please do not take social media seriously. I would not even have a fucking Twitter account if I did not have this channel. I only use Twitter to promote this fucking channel. I do. I'm rarely on Instagram. I hate it. I fucking hate it. Elijah Spencer, 24 years old, has now spoken out. He gave his side of the story about why he decided to attack Seth Rollins during Monday Night Raw at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Spencer, who was charged with attempted assault, an attempted violation of arts and cultural affairs, aka disrupting a live sporting event, gave a statement to the New York Daily News. Spencer claimed that he was looking to settle a beef dating back to 2019 that appears to be a catfishing scam started by somebody posing as Seth Rollins. He says, and I quote, "I apologize to the WWE for my actions. I had a legitimate beef, but as a grown man, I could have settled it a different way." I'm not sure exactly who your legitimate beef was with, but clearly it wasn't Colby Lopez, you fucking idiot. Who was your legitimate beef with? But as a grown man, I could have settled it a different way. If I saw him today, I wouldn't attack him. I've moved on, he says. Spencer recalled how we first met Rollins at a meet and greet a few years ago, and during it, he asked him for help to launch his own career in the wrestling business. Things obviously went south after he started communicating on messenger services. He is still convinced that he was talking to Seth Rollins. He says, and I quote, "He was asking me to send him gift cards in exchange for money, mostly $500 or more, to see if I was loyal. Apparently, whoever it was pretending to be Rollins had asked Spencer to be a wrestling blogger for him and claimed it would get him into the business. However, after revealing he had apologized to WWE and moved on, Spencer started to give off mixed messages. He says, my plan was to help Finn Balor. I jumped from where I was sitting. I ran and speared Seth Rollins. I busted his lip open, and he caught me in a headlock. Now, while Spencer may have apologized to WWE and claims to have learned from what he did go on and say that he was trying to aid Finn Balor, who had been laid out in a storyline angle that was a part of the show. It doesn't really paint him in the best light as he's trying to explain his side of the story. Now, Rollins, he was asked about this incident by TMZ. Rollins said it was a terrifying moment, adding he believes that the fans should be banned from all future WWE shows. Spencer believed Balor needed his help, and he jumped the barricade and attacked Rollins to give him that help. That's probably a sign that from now on, Spencer should honestly sit in his fucking basement and watch the show from his television. This is one of the most ridiculous fucking stories I think I've read all year. This guy was catfished out of money, $3,000 worth of money in gift cards, checks that bounced. This guy actually had his girlfriend write checks to Seth Rollins to try and help him get into the business, or what he thought was Seth Rollins. Those checks bounced because his girlfriend clearly didn't have the money either. I don't know how this man was communicating with somebody under the name of Seth Rollins on social media and did not realize that the name Seth Rollins, if you look on Instagram or you look on Twitter, there's a reason why these accounts get verified by said social media platform. If this Rollins that you were communicating with didn't have that little blue check mark next to his name, let me tell you something, you fucking idiot. You're not communicating with Seth Rollins, and you're probably communicating with somebody that's trying to do wrong. So he made a mistake right from the word go, and he never let up. Then he fabricated this entire thing, thought it was Rollins, and decided to jump the barricade at the Barclays Center, and then he claimed he was helping Finn Balor out. This guy is mental and needs to be put away. He did this, and he was completely in the wrong from the word go. I don't know if he was communicating with the Seth Rollins account or if this was under Seth Rollins' real name, Colby Lopez. Why would Seth Rollins have a social media account under Colby Lopez that everybody has access to? Nobody wants to fucking be on social media more than they have to, especially somebody like him who's outwardly complained about social media. God, this guy obviously has the IQ of a fucking eggplant. What a complete and utter fool. You're out $3,000. You know what I have to say? Good for you. Now that's a lesson learned the hard way. And you'll never go to another wrestling show as long as you are alive because you're a complete and utter fucking idiot. Rollins should have fucking curb stomped this guy right in the head. But you know what? I respect Seth Rollins for not doing that because he knew he was going to be ushered out of the arena and taken care of. You know what Rollins did? Rollins came back at the end of the show in the main event. He came all dressed up, ridiculous looking, right? And then he looked around and he started sniveling like the fucking Repo Man. You gotta love Seth Rollins, man. Seth Rollins is doing the best work of his career right now. I appreciate Seth Rollins more than I did 2-3 years ago, man. He's killing it right now. And if he won the WWE Championship, I would not mind. I would not mind at all if he ends up beating Big E. Speaking of Mrs. Rollins, Becky Lynch, WWE was actually called out for force-feeding Becky Lynch's heel turn. Now, Becky Lynch was absent from WWE television since May of last year. As you guys know, she had a baby. She's back. She came back. She beat Bianca Belair in 26 seconds at SummerSlam, which Bianca Belair has yet to recover from. Bully Ray, he's not a fan of Becky Lynch's booking in WWE. And I'm not a fan of Becky Lynch in general. Lynch successfully retained the SmackDown Women's title at Crown Jewel against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Since then, Lynch made her way to Monday Night Raw and is now the Raw Women's Champion. She's remained heel, and I use that term loosely, heel, since WWE SummerSlam. And while some fans like her character, others simply, like me, find it to be cringe and very forced. And while speaking on Busted Open Radio, Bully Ray questioned WWE's decision to keep having Becky Lynch portrayed as a heel. Bully Ray stated that fans are all behind her, so there is simply no reason to hate her. When Becky Lynch starts to cry last night, when you see them overwhelmed with emotion, if you see somebody cry, you feel for them. So when I'm watching her get all welled up on emotion, talking about her friendship with Charlotte and how it's come to an end, you know that it actually, truly, genuinely bothers her. She's crying, and in that moment in time, you're like, man, I really feel bad for this girl. So you want me to feel bad for Becky Lynch based on her real emotion post-match, but tonight you're going to write a bunch of gibberish on a piece of paper that makes me go, oh my God, I hate Becky Lynch. No, there's no reason to hate Becky Lynch, and I don't want to hate Becky Lynch just because you're hoping and praying that I love Liv Morgan. End quote. You know, I don't really agree with a lot of takes on Busted Open Radio. I think they do their fair share of shilling on Busted Open Radio. But I honestly do agree with Bully Ray here. There's no reason why anybody wants to boo Becky Lynch. In fact, it's working as a negative for her character. I think it's portrayed her in a worse light. It's made her unwatchable. And the same could be said about Shotzi Blackheart. And whatever WWE was doing there with Shotzi, they turned her heel. WWE made a complete mockery out of that. Sasha Banks was a heel. Then they turned Shotzi heel on a heel Sasha Banks, forcing Sasha to now turn babyface. The heel Sasha Banks, when that moment happened, was a heel standing in a babyface's corner. It was all sorts of fucked up. And Shotzi turns heel. I said this then. Nobody wants to boo Shotzi Blackheart. She's a green-haired, heavy metal chick, right? And everybody wants to cheer her. Nobody wants to boo Shotzi Blackheart. So you're actively taking her tank away from her because it makes her cool. Why did they take the tank away from her? Because it's a Shotzi thing. It was a Paul Levesque thing. It was an NXT 1.0 thing. So they actively took that away from Shotzi Blackheart. Then you want to force a heel turn on her. She's a much better babyface than she is a heel. Nobody wants to boo Shotzi Blackheart. Nobody wants to boo Becky Lynch. Nobody. She was a babyface in New York against Charlotte Flair. In fact, everything that happened with Charlotte and Becky and the dropping of the title and the real-life attitude problems that they have backstage and the fight that they had backstage, everybody caught wind of this. Everybody knew this was legit. For the first time in many, many, many years, Charlotte Flair was getting legit heat. And I mean legit, right, correct heat for the character that she's portrayed. Now it's back to normal. Now they're on SmackDown, or she's on SmackDown. Becky's back to Raw. Now they're on their own separate teams again, and I don't really give a shit. But for the moment, Charlotte was actually getting legit heel heat, and Becky was getting legit babyface heat, and it was the right type of heat. Then you want to come out the next night, and then you want to have Becky shit on the fucking fans because the fans were doing the wave and chanting CM Punk during the Women's Survivor Series match, which was completely justified because your creative is fucking terrible. Why would you have her come and shit on the fans that are actively supporting her in this Raw Women's Championship title run? WWE clearly doesn't know what the fuck to do. And Liv Morgan right now, she's also in a tough spot because fans want to cheer Becky Lynch. How many of those fans want Liv Morgan to beat Becky Lynch? You're not really creating a moment for Liv Morgan here against a top heel in WWE. You've portrayed Becky Lynch in this fucking middle of the road, still overly babyface, but I'm going to try to force a heel turn on her type of role, and it's not going to do Liv Morgan any good. Liv Morgan needs to win a title or win the title against a known legit heel so that all the reaction that Liv Morgan gets is genuine and correct. Now, she's not beating Becky Lynch. Nobody's taking that title off Becky Lynch. But the thing is, how many of those people are going to be pro Liv Morgan to take the title off of Becky Lynch? Not many. A lot of people are going to look at that as just another fucking feast for the big-time Becks, right? That's all it is. WWE has fucking failed in every which way with Becky and stories in the women's division. This is just another thing to add to the overall list of failures in that women's division, which right now, it doesn't look good. The women's division in WWE is a complete and utter fucking mess. There was a bizarre Kevin Owens segment on Monday Night Raw that was scrapped. Fightful Select is reporting that at one point, Kevin Owens was slated to take a lie detector test during the show. Boy, this more and more sounds like something that Jon Moxley went through before he left WWE. It wasn't specified what the lie detector test would be for, but based on the storyline, it may have been to find out whether he secretly pals with Seth Rollins. Perhaps there's a chance we'll still get this segment at some point in the next few weeks, with WWE possibly deciding that there was a bit too much silliness going on already with the fucking egg that went missing that Vince McMahon made a big deal about. That's just my guess. But Rollins is set for a championship match against Big E at some point. Owens is in the mix. I don't know what's going to happen with Owens in the world title mix, but the show went off the air on Monday with E laying out Rollins in the ring and Owens running away to the back. You know, I mentioned, and I don't want to put words in the man's mouth, but, you know, I can only attest to you guys what I watch. You know, it reminds me a lot of the Jon Moxley end of days in WWE, where they had him come out looking like fucking Bane from Batman. They had the fucking fur coat on, the mask, the gold chain. I don't know what the fuck they were doing with Jon Moxley, but it was absolutely atrocious. It's not that bad yet with Kevin Owens, but it really is coming off as if they don't really give a shit about Kevin Owens at all. Just the pure silliness of a lie detector test. It really doesn't fit the Kevin Owens character. It doesn't. Kevin Owens just wants to fight, and Kevin Owens wants to be a prick-like heel. Let him be a prick-like heel. And I see Kevin Owens come out. It looks like he doesn't give a shit. It looks like he's so miserable. He's so unhappy about what is going on there. I said this many times already, and I'm going to say it again. Kevin Owens, I don't think he's signing a re-up with WWE. I don't think he's signing another deal with WWE. I don't. I think this is the end of Kevin Owens. His contract is up at the end of January. He's going to do whatever they fucking want him to do, and he's gone. Sami Zayn's contract is up at the end of December as well. I honestly think both of these guys go back out there knowing that they could make just as much money doing whatever they got to do away from WWE while being happier than ever. I think Kevin Owens is gone, and I think him and Zayn will be the catalysts for everybody else that is currently right now in that company unhappy to eventually say, you know what? If they left and they were making good money, what the fuck is stopping me from leaving as well? Kevin Owens is good as gone. Mount Rushmore will be a thing in AEW. Mark my words. Kevin Steen will be in AEW. Roman Reigns possibly leaving WWE in the near future. This is the major storyline today on the podcast. Now, last night on Friday Night SmackDown, Roman Reigns dropped a tease that he could be leaving WWE in the near future. Reigns cut a promo to open SmackDown. Paul Heyman was there, kind of making fun of Kayla Braxton. And Roman Reigns, after Paul Heyman got done with Kayla, took the microphone. And one of the things that he said was, and I quote, "I'm your tribal chief, and I'm the greatest of all time. And when my days are done around here," which could be sooner rather than later, "the whole world will acknowledge me." The fuck does that mean? That doesn't mean he's scared of Brock Lesnar. That does not mean he's scared of Brock Lesnar. The whole world will be watching me. The only way the whole world will be watching Roman Reigns if he's on the silver screen and he's in households worldwide as a Hollywood actor. That's what that means. So clearly it got people talking. He was on late night TV leading up to the Survivor Series. He also made a off comment as well about Hollywood, or gave off that vibe that he may be done with wrestling sooner rather than later and maybe pursue an acting career like his cousin, The Rock. I don't know. Reigns' comments fall in line with what he even said on the Michael Kay show, where he hinted that his full-time wrestling days may be ending soon and he is looking to make the jump to become a full-time Hollywood actor. Now, we all know Reigns has the look to be a Hollywood actor. He could probably be very successful at it. Dwayne did it. Batista did it. John Cena did it, or is in the midst of doing it. And Roman Reigns, he could be well on his way to doing that as well. Reigns said the following about making the jump to Hollywood. He says, and I quote on the Michael Kay show, "We'll have to see. I think there's going to be some moves made here pretty soon. There's always these speculations, these contract talks, all that pushing. That's my business. People who can dive deep enough, I'm sure they can uncover enough stones to figure out the time frame. But that's something I definitely want to dabble in. I want to gain more experience. I want to use these tools that I've learned. WWE has done so right by me. They've given me so much and placed so many great blessings and opportunities in front of me. I just had to capture them. I just had to grab the ball and run with it. I like to think that along the way, I just picked up so many skills and experienced so many different things that are going to help me, because at the end of the day, we all know how this works. This is a young man's game. You can't fall down your whole life. You have to get to a point where you can transition, where you can connect and create new, fresh, evolved content for your fan base and your supporters. I think I have the ability to do that. At the end of the day, it's about getting into the game, being thrown into that fire, and seeing how you do. I have a pretty good track record with being thrown in the deep end, and if that's what happens in Hollywood, I'm looking to swim." End quote. WrestlingNews.co first reported in October that the plan with Reigns is for him to break the record for the longest reigning Universal Champion. The record is 504 days, which is set by Brock Lesnar, and for him to be pushed as the greatest WWE superstar of all time. Reigns has been calling himself the greatest of all time in recent weeks. There is no word on when Reigns' WWE contract is set to expire, but he signed a contract extension in August of 2019. If the deal is for 3 years, then his deal would be up by the summer of 2022. Reigns took some time away last year due to COVID precautions, but WrestlingNews.co was told that WWE has not been adding time to wrestler contracts for COVID-19 related reasons. WWE, I don't know when they stopped issuing out 5-year deals. I don't know what type of contract Reigns signed, if it was a 3-year extension, which would take him to summer 2022, or if it was a 5-year deal, which would take him to summer of 2024. I don't know. Maybe it was just a slight re-up for more money, but at the same type of length for 3 years. I don't know. I have no idea. Nobody's going to know, and it's not really something that's going to be imminently available. Do we see Roman Reigns leaving WWE for Hollywood anytime soon? No. Roman Reigns is clearly going to finish his contractual obligations to WWE. Roman Reigns is going to do what is expected of him in World Wrestling Entertainment. But when the time comes, does everybody see him going to Hollywood? Look at him. Absolutely. If Rock can do it, why can't Reigns do it? I'm not saying we're expecting Reigns to leave right now. But the bigger question to me is I don't give a shit when Reigns leaves. If Reigns is set to leave WWE for Hollywood, good for him. As long as I know WWE has somebody else in line to take over his spot, I don't give a fuck when he leaves. That's all I'm concerned about. Who is WWE going to replace Roman Reigns with? Because the way we see it now, if Reigns was to walk away in the next year, who is on that show that is going to be able to be the anchor to get people to watch? It's not Drew McIntyre. Brock Lesnar is a part-time guy. You ain't doing anything with part-time Brock. 8 to 10 matches a year, that's not going to be enough to anchor SmackDown. Big E's not enough on Raw. AJ Styles is not enough. Finn Balor's not enough. Whoever else you want. Seth Rollins over there. Edge. Nobody is enough. WWE has put legitimately all their eggs in the Roman Reigns basket and have neglected everybody else. You have done one thing for the last 400 plus days, and that is build one guy to make one guy more important than anybody could ever be over everybody else. And now you are paying the fucking consequences for your one-sided booking. Who else is there? I had people on social media, thanks to Hooligrim. Thank you for sending me, and I don't want to get Hooligrim in trouble, but I'm sure he doesn't give a shit. One of my mods in the chat sent me something that was said on social media about me bitching and complaining about Sami Zayn winning the Battle Royal last night, the Black Friday Battle Royal, to challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. This fucking retard came out here and said, oh, JD's complaining about new, fresh talent in the main event scene. I'm sorry, when was Sami Zayn ever considered fresh, new talent in the main event scene? Sami Zayn has a contract coming up in December. Don't you think WWE is pushing Sami Zayn in a title situation to maybe have him re-up his contract because they don't want to lose him to AEW? That's one thing. When has Sami Zayn ever been considered a fucking main event guy? The guy's been booked into oblivion on WWE television. Never to be taken seriously. They didn't do anything serious with Sami Zayn. Now you want me to willingly embrace Sami Zayn as a number one contender? He's a fucking heel against Roman Reigns, who's a heel. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn is not a believable matchup. So you could take that and shove it up your fucking pee hole. Now, granted, we could get Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy to have a match. Maybe Jeff Hardy slided in some way. Maybe he feels Sami Zayn cheated. Maybe we get Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn with the number one contendership on the line, and it goes to Jeff Hardy, and we get Jeff Hardy versus Roman Reigns at day one on January 1, WWE's first pay-per-view of the year. Or maybe we just get Brock Lesnar coming back next week as advertised. He beats the shit out of Sami Zayn, and he forcefully takes his title shot and wants Reigns next. Either way, Sami Zayn may not even get the fucking shot at Roman Reigns, which would then render the Battle Royal and everything that we watched on SmackDown completely and utterly fucking useless. It's a waste of time. But don't try and shill to me that Sami Zayn is worth an opportunity because he's a fresh new talent. Let me tell you something, you fucking moron. There's nobody on SmackDown worth anybody's time. There's nobody on SmackDown worth Roman Reigns' time. Not Drew McIntyre, not even a Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre should not be in the discussion to beat Roman Reigns. You know who's in the discussion to beat Roman Reigns right now on the active roster? Nobody. If Reigns' contract is up, and this I'm just thinking theoretically, if Reigns' contract is up in August or September of 2022. I'm having Reigns go through Jeff Hardy. I'm having Reigns run through a Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm having Reigns run through a Drew McIntyre. And I'm having Reigns run through a Brock Lesnar. I'm having Reigns. If Reigns is going to Hollywood, just thinking about the situation, if he's going to go take time off to go pursue Hollywood and do WWE part-time, and he needs to drop the title, I'm not having anybody beat Roman Reigns. The only one that I've brought to the discussion is Walter. And I don't see WWE doing that because it makes too much fucking sense. Walter should be the guy to beat Roman Reigns. There's nobody on the active roster right now. And the story about Walter spending more time in the United States because he's going through a divorce and he's dating Ginny from NXT UK and he's living in the States and he's not doing the job that he used to do back home. Now he's going to spend more time in the States, potentially. Walter, if they want to bring him to WWE television, that's the guy to do it. Outside of that, there is nobody. So theoretically, if Roman Reigns is going to Hollywood, you know what I'm having Roman Reigns do with the Universal Championship? Forfeit it. Relinquish it. Drop it. Beat everybody. Drop the title. Go away. Because nobody is on the level of Roman Reigns. You want to build him as the greatest of all time? Then that means nobody should be beating the greatest of all time. Now, I don't know what they have planned here. I don't know if it's going to be Sami Zayn. I don't know if it's going to be Jeff Hardy. We'll find out on Friday. I don't know if it's going to be Brock Lesnar. But another thing you guys need to be aware of, if we do Lesnar versus Reigns before WrestleMania, then that means we're getting Dwayne at WrestleMania. I don't see WWE doing 3 matches with Reigns and Lesnar. I don't. Then that's going to be worrisome to me because Reigns is not going to beat Lesnar all 3 fucking times. And that would be open for WWE to give the title to Lesnar, which would be one of the worst decisions you could possibly make. Why does Lesnar need to beat Reigns? Why does Lesnar need to be the Universal Champion on a part-time schedule and the championship not be there? You're going to give the title to Lesnar and have him off of SmackDown when everybody else on that show is absolutely a fucking nobody that hasn't been built up properly to lead the show? Drew McIntyre and Lesnar are not it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If Roman Reigns is going to Hollywood, you have him forfeit the title. You hold a big tournament, and then you mold the brands together and end the fucking brand split. Get rid of it. Have Reigns retire the Universal title. Have him retire it. Have one world championship and the brand split. These are ideas. Lesnar and McIntyre are not the guys to do it. I am sorry. In fact, I'm not. That's the fucking truth. And if that bothers you, I don't give a shit. Kiss my ass. Oh, Roman Reigns is boring. Oh, Roman Reigns needs to lose the title. No, he doesn't. You do realize that Roman Reigns is the only superstar in WWE worth jack shit right now, right? Yo, let's please take the title off of Roman Reigns. Please. Please take the title off Roman Reigns. This is the Tribal Chief storyline. Without the title, he's not the Tribal Chief. Without the title, he's not the head of the table. So please, shut your mouth and let the fucking professionals talk to you about how it should be done. Without the title, Reigns is not the head of the table. I'm sorry. Anybody could go out there then and call themselves the fucking head of the table on Friday Night SmackDown. With the title, Reigns owns that title of head of the table. So if Reigns goes to Hollywood, great. The best thing for him to do is slay everybody, smash him, beat him, and then forfeit the title. Best case scenario, retire the fucking title. Never have another Universal Champion ever again. End the brand split. Have one champion, because with Reigns gone and taking extended time off, there's nobody else on that roster worth anything, and nobody is a must-see act. At that point, only one title, in my eyes, is necessary. Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano, he may be leaving WWE. He may not be leaving WWE, but they did extend his contract for another 7 days. Sounds very similar to what they did to Adam Cole. Johnny Gargano's exit from WWE is not a lock like some others have really thought of, and he has opted to stay with the company. He may be leaving, he may not be leaving, but as far as we are concerned, he will be going through War Games. Meltzer talked about this and the Gargano situation on the Observer Live. Gargano is strongly considering his options. Meltzer said, and I quote, Gargano, his contract is up on December 3rd. He signed a 1-week extension through December 10th so he could do the War Games show and finish up the storyline. It is not 100% that he's leaving the company by any means. He is considering his options, but obviously he has not signed a new long-term contract. They did not offer him a 7-day contract. They wanted him to sign a multi-year extension, and he has not done that. And the fact that he has not tells you that he is certainly exploring other options. I think a lot to think about from his perspective. It's not as open and shut as some people may think, because to me, the Adam Cole situation was open and shut. There was only one decision for Adam Cole to make. Gargano, there's probably 2 decisions, and I don't know which way he's going. If he was leaning strongly towards staying, they probably would have talked him into signing, and that has not happened. Right now, it is up in the air. The other big name from NXT that has a deal coming up is Kyle O'Reilly. There's no word on what he plans to do, but if he signs with AEW, then there's a storyline waiting for him to reunite with Bobby Fish and Adam Cole. Both Gargano and O'Reilly would be free to sign with any other wrestling company as soon as their WWE contracts expire. Now, Dave Meltzer also explained about Candice LeRae's situation, the wife of Johnny Gargano. Her contract is not due to expire until May 2022, but the belief is that WWE will actually add time to her expiration date to make up for the time she has taken off due to her pregnancy. WWE typically will freeze a contract and add time to the deal when wrestlers take an extended amount of time off. If this happens with LeRae, then she would not become a free agent until the end of 2022, and that also means she would not be able to go wherever her husband is right away. You know, the Johnny Gargano situation is a little bit of a toss-up. It really is. The reason why Johnny Gargano stayed all these years in NXT is because of the management. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, William Regal, Matt Bloom, Sarah Amato, everybody else in that company that worked on Triple H's team. The environment there was something that he was a part of from the very beginning. The family-orientated background, the backroom, locker room environment. You know, it was a family. It was not like the main roster. And then Johnny Gargano seeing all of this replaced. Triple H removed from power. Shawn Michaels, nothing more than a mere puppet to Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard because they don't really want to be there, so they leave Shawn Michaels in charge to run the show and produce the show and make sure everything is running the way it needs to be on Tuesday night. We haven't seen William Regal at all on the show. Who the fuck knows what his role is in WWE nowadays? These are all Triple H team members. Johnny Gargano was Triple H's hand-picked guy. Him and Ciampa, Gargano and Ciampa were a mirror image of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Why do you think they got so much play in NXT? They looked at Gargano and Ciampa as themselves in a younger version. They were living vicariously through Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Their feud is very reminiscent and very similar to what Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa did. And if you don't see that, I think you need to go back and re-examine what the fuck they were doing. Where's Johnny Gargano going? He could stay, but he knows exactly what he's going to get if he does stay. Look at everything else that was pulled from NXT, put on the main roster. They're either there suffering 1,000 deaths or they have been released. Look at what they did to Ridge Holland on SmackDown. He's been sitting in catering for 7 weeks, only to have one match last night on SmackDown in a losing effort to Cesaro. That doesn't really bode well for future talent on the main roster. Look at what they did to Adam Cole. They drove Adam Cole out of the company, and Adam Cole was a perennial main event WrestleMania guy for years to come. They drove him out. Wanted to change his name, cut his hair, and make this guy a fucking manager for Keith Lee, who they only ended up firing anyway. Keith Lee, gone. Cross, gone. Ricochet, buried. The Viking Raiders and everybody else that was a part of Triple H's NXT, Black, Andrade, all these guys, gone. Don't you think Johnny Gargano realizes this and knows this? Plus, you mix in the fucking initiative and the agenda and the hiring process. Johnny Gargano's not 6'2", 6'3". Johnny Gargano's not 240 pounds. Johnny Gargano is not younger than 30 years old. So you mean to tell me now, all of a sudden, WWE wants to keep Johnny Gargano in the company against all of their fucking initiative and their hiring agenda? Give me a break. They are only trying to lure him in with money because they don't want him to go anywhere else. And they may want to make money off of him in the short term, only to get bored with him, bury him because he's a Triple H guy. This is a fucking game to them. You don't think WWE would spend money to keep Gargano to fucking kill him on the main roster? They can't kill him now. His contract's up. What the fuck are they going to do to him? Bring him in, sign him to a new deal, bring him up to the main roster, and treat this guy like a fucking jobber and make Triple H's legacy even tarnished furthermore. I could see that being something that they do. I would not be shocked if that happens. Johnny Gargano is not an idiot. Johnny Gargano sees the landscape changing in WWE. Johnny Gargano sees the landscape changing on the indies with AEW being around. Why would Johnny Gargano stay with the fucking company? All you need, as an example, is Adam Cole. Very similar in size. Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano had one of the best matches ever in WWE, and he's gone. If they didn't appreciate that to let Adam Cole walk and give Adam Cole no effort at all to keep him on WWE's roster, what do you think they're going to do to Johnny Gargano? This guy will be dressed as a fucking clown in 3 weeks. As soon as he signs that contract, brought up to the main roster, this guy is a jobber waiting to happen. Now, what I look at when I look at Johnny Gargano is the guy could play many roles. He's a great heel. He's a great babyface. He's got that Daniel Bryan underdog characteristic that made him fucking phenomenal in NXT. If I'm Bruce Pritchard, and we all know Bruce Pritchard's brain's the size of a fucking pea, and Vince McMahon, who doesn't know what the fuck day it is, I don't trust these guys with anything creatively. But if I'm WWE creative, I'm looking at Johnny Gargano and saying, well, Bryan Danielson left us. This guy's the closest thing to a Bryan Danielson that we have. Let's make him into the new Daniel Bryan. That's what they got in Johnny Gargano. But are they going to do that? No, they're not. As far as I'm concerned, Johnny Gargano is doing NXT a favor because he loves NXT. Johnny Gargano's always been about building NXT, no matter if it's Triple H's NXT or Bruce Pritchard's NXT, Vince McMahon's NXT. He's all about giving back to the company he's given his life to, the brand he's given his life to. So if Johnny Gargano signed a 7-day contract to stay through War Games, you should know that he's about to put over the young talent and then go and do his own thing. He's going to put over a Tony D'Angelo. He's going to put over a Braun Breaker. He's going to put over a Carmelo Hayes, right? He's going to put over these guys, a Grayson Waller who's in that match. I don't really like the old versus new school thing. I think it's very blatant as to what they're doing. But I think Johnny Gargano is as good as gone after December 10th. Goodbye. I don't know if he goes to AEW. AEW's got a lot to pick from. They need to make a list. They can't take everybody. I don't know what type of contracts they have coming up on their end. I don't know what they got going on there, but Johnny Gargano and AEW, I mean, take my fucking money, man. The dream matches that could be had with Johnny Gargano in AEW? You're getting a prime fucking wrestler, pro wrestler in Johnny Gargano who's ready to be on Dynamite tomorrow. You could slot this guy in any role, and he's going to excel at it. That's the type of guy you want to bring in. But then you got your Wyndhams, and you got your Keith Lees, and you got your Karrion Crosses, your Ember Moons, your Tegan Knoxes. There's so many names out there. Then Ring of Honor closing down. Who the fuck knows who they're going to bring in? The Briscoes, Brody King, PCO. They already brought in Jay Lee. How many guys can AEW house? You got to pick your spots. Is Johnny Gargano going to have a job in AEW? I don't know. It's the home of professional wrestling. Right now, Johnny Gargano's a professional wrestler. I'd like to think so, but I don't think Johnny Gargano is going to have any success in WWE. He's going to have the paycheck to back it up, but he's not going to be happy. I think Johnny Gargano explores his options, to be brutally honest with you. Kyle O'Reilly, he's as good as gone. Kyle O'Reilly does not fit in WWE. He fits in AEW. He's got Adam Cole and Bobby Fish waiting for him. His character is nothing by himself. He's playing off Von Wagner. Von Wagner's got no charisma whatsoever. Kyle O'Reilly doesn't have much charisma going on for himself. He had charisma in Undisputed Era, but he was happy then. He fed off of his best friends. He's trying to feed off somebody that just isn't there in Von Wagner, which I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck a Von Wagner is. He will be AEW bound as well, which I'm not surprised by. Now we know why they brought in Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish joining AEW was simply a way to welcome Kyle O'Reilly in when it was his time. Kevin Steen, Sami Zayn, Ricochet, who knows? His contract may be up next year, right? Then you get into the bigger names, AJ Styles. I mean, how many people can end up in AEW? Tony Khan's going to have a lot of thinking to do. But Johnny Gargano signing for 7 days extra, very similar to Adam Cole. Adam Cole stayed because he loved what he did there. Same thing with Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano's as good as gone after December 10th, and I'm very much looking forward to him exploring his options because there's a lot out there that wasn't available to him before he signed with WWE. Jackson Ryker. He had incredible backstage heat before his WWE release, which I'm not surprised by. I don't think anybody's sad to see him go either. Fightful Select reports that there were people that took issue with the fact that the Forgotten Sons were taken off TV because of Ryker's comments, but that he was the one who returned before the others. I think we made mention of that several times on the show here. Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, they were taken off TV, but Jackson Ryker was on TV doing whatever the fuck he was doing with Elias. Meanwhile, you had two guys in the Forgotten Sons who were a damn good tag team. All they needed was some seasoning and maybe some direction, and you had a great tag team there. But Jackson Ryker remained. Why? What is so special about Jackson Ryker? He's a fucking charisma vacuum. Nobody gave a fuck about Jackson Ryker. Nobody gave a fuck about him in the Forgotten Sons. He was actually the worst aspect of the Forgotten Sons. Yet he was the one who got on TV while the other two guys stayed home, no TV time, and then they ended up getting fired for whatever reason. Jackson Ryker was said to have largely laid low after the initial heat had died down, but he was the one case of all the releases that had incredible heat backstage. It was also mentioned that most people had expected him to have been released in one of the earlier batches of names being let go that were mass releases. So the fact that he didn't end up on the list of 20 or 21 people that they let go previously this year surprised a lot of people. The creative team also noticed that him getting over was going to be an issue, with one source saying it was an uphill battle to get a reaction. He sucks! Nobody gives a fuck! WWE actually cut their losses, and this was something that I agree with. This guy was a lost cause from the word go. He was nothing more than a lackey and an enforcer for the Forgotten Sons, and that was the only role he should have ended up playing. He was never going to get over on his own as a solo act on Monday Night Raw. Goodbye. Nobody is going to miss you. Nobody. Top dollar. Bottom dollar. $0. Dollar Tree. Top dollar. AJ Francis. He made the news frequently about his diss tracks and the ridiculous things he said about the Young Bucks and all this other shit that he said. He certainly I'm not going to take anything away from Hit Row. Had a ton of potential. Top Dollar was a part of Hit Row. They had a ton of potential as a foursome. But then he did this rap about Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal! He did this rap about Jinder Mahal. And then everything seemed to go downhill after that. During this year's edition of the WWE Draft, Hit Row was called up to the main roster. I called them Shit Row. I said they'd be on death row. He blocked me and everybody else in the fucking community who spoke their opinion on it. And then we ended up being right, and now he looks like a blithering idiot. The faction was supposed to be part of SmackDown. They made their debut last month. Unfortunately, B-Fab was the first to be let go, and then WWE, as of 2 weeks ago, followed and fired the rest of them. Which sucks, because Isaiah Swerve Scott is great. However, it didn't stop the company. Like I said, they fired all of Hit Row. And then B-Fab was out there promoting a rap song about her being released. Top Dollar made a rap song about B-Fab. Now Top Dollar went on Busted Open Radio, and he spoke about his WWE release. Top Dollar also made it clear that the rap song he wrote on Jinder Mahal had nothing to do with his release. Sure it didn't. It's definitely an aspect of why he was released. It wasn't the thing that got him released, but it definitely was an aspect of what got him released. He says, and I quote, "People want to bring up the fact about the song that I released for Jinder and Shanky on Twitter that people got mad about, but Jinder Mahal himself not only loved the song, but said, and I have proof of it, that I said nothing wrong in the song. The whole point of it was that we were in a feud together. We were trying to get more juice on the feud. Me and Jinder are cool. That was the whole point of it. When people are like, oh, the beat he used was insensitive. The beat I used is called Beware by Punjabi MC, which is the most famous Indian sample in the history of hip-hop. And when I picked that beat, Jinder Mahal was sitting right next to me in the locker room when we formulated the plan to do this. So for people to be upset with me and think that's the reason we got fired is ridiculous. Because Jinder himself went and talked to them and was like, no, it was not like that. We planned this out together." End quote. So the one line that stood out to me was because Jinder himself went and talked to them. I mean, them, I guess, is WWE management. Talked to them and was like, no, it was not like that. We planned this out together. So clearly WWE management took issue with what he said. Jinder went and explained that it wasn't. Then they ended up firing him anyway. So the song was made. Jinder went to WWE management after everybody came down on Top Dollar about the song. Jinder went to WWE management and said, no, it wasn't like that. We put this thing together. We're okay with it. I'm okay with it. Shanky is okay with it. Then they ended up firing him. So whatever Top Dollar is saying here is complete and utter bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. That was not the main reason why he got fired. The main reason why Hit Row got fired is because they were nothing but pawns in the overall Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon NXT initiative. Hit Row was the last remaining salvageable piece of what Triple H did for NXT, and they were called up and they were let go because they want to further push the agenda and the initiative that Triple H, that Paul Levesque is a fucking failure. That he did not do anything right in NXT. Thus, Hit Row got released. They didn't even give Hit Row a fucking chance to get over. It's not like they were on TV and they couldn't cut it. It's not like they were on TV and did something wrong in the ring. It's not like they were backstage mischievous and fucking outlaws backstage doing what they wanted to do. Maybe Top Dollar was, but Swerve and B-Fab and Ashante Adonis, you never heard anything about them being disruptive backstage. Only Top Dollar went out there and made fun of the Bucks, made fun of fans, made fun of this, made fun of that. Then the Jinder Mahal rap happened. People claimed that he was being insensitive and discriminative towards Jinder Mahal and India. And then he's let go. The thing is, I believe Top Dollar took initiative himself and I don't know if he's realizing who he works with. That's actually frowned upon. If you take initiative and do and push storylines on your own, that's not really something that they want, because it is not your time to be over in front of those people. They will give you the time and the day and the moment in which you are allowed to get over. He wanted to build something on his own, and that's the part that was frowned upon. Did he ask Bruce Pritchard? Did he ask Vince? Did he ask creatives acceptance for this storyline? Did he ask permission to go out there and make a rap on Jinder Mahal? Did he go over what he was going to put in the rap with creative to get it approved? No. He did it all on his own. But top dollar, AJ Francis is not going to go on Busted Open Radio and tell you that, because then it would paint him in a bad light, and then he would be looked at as the one to be blamed for his own release. Oh, I got unfairly cut by WWE. No, you didn't. You're just not telling the entire story. I'm not a fucking idiot. I've been doing this for a very long time. I've seen people like you come and go, a dime a dozen. Always the same thing. I know who these people are. I don't need to work there. They don't want you to be anywhere unless they say so. They don't want you to say anything until they say it's okay. He got fired because he's a fucking idiot. And he's got nobody to blame but himself. And everybody else in Hit Row, they could probably place the blame on AJ Francis as well for getting them fired, adding fuel to the already burning fire that they were Triple H guys. Goodbye. Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is unsure. She is still under WWE contract. Listen, honey, you are under WWE contract. All you need to go out there and do is explore your options. You'll find out quick if you're still employed by WWE. Ronda Rousey was interviewed, or I guess she went live on Facebook to stream her gaming gameplay. I guess she has a gaming channel on Facebook now. And she was asked if she's still under contract with WWE. So someone in the chat room is asking if I'm still under contract with WWE. She says, I'm technically, well, you know what? I don't actually know. But who knows? That's a question for the lawyers, end quote. Go out there and put your name out there back in the wrestling landscape and say you want to go out there and wrestle and not mention WWE. That 201 number from fucking Stamford, Connecticut will be on your phone within the blink of an eye. Give me a break. Ronda Rousey will be back in WWE when she wants to be back in WWE. Oh, I'm running low on funds. I could make a cool $2 million wrestling Becky at Wrestlemania. Let's do it. It's all on you. Go out there and put yourself out there as available. You'll see how fast you're still employed by WWE. Scotty to Hotty. Scotty to Hotty apparently this week, a.k.a. Scott Garland, his real name, better known as Scotty to Hotty, requested his release from WWE. He requested his release from WWE. I found this to be funny. I talked about this on Tuesday. I'm not sure how many of you guys caught up on the NXT post show, but I'm doing it here again. He said earlier this week, and I quote in a statement on Facebook, "Today, I have asked for my release from World Wrestling Entertainment. 30 years ago, I stepped into a WWE ring for the very first time. I have lived my dream 100 times over. Some of my most special memories will always be from the last 5 years working with NXT, the black and gold brand. Not this fruity fucking fruit roll-up bullshit that they're doing over there. Now, spray paint colors and fucking paintball colors. Give me a break. Give me a break with this shit. The black and gold brand was something special, and I'm proud to have been a small part of that. I always promised myself I would never be a part of something solely for the paycheck, and that was where I was at. I told myself that I would walk away if I ever got to that point, so that is what I have chosen to do. Coaching and producing the NXT stars of tomorrow will always be the highlight of my life. I love you all more than you will ever know." End quote. Scotty Hotty broke into the business in 1989. He worked in various territories before signing with the WWE in 1997. He found success in 1998 teaming with Brian Christopher. They formed Too Much, later known as Too Cool. He was with the company as a wrestler to 2007. And during his WWE run, he held the tag team titles twice, a run as the light heavyweight champion, then what would be known as the Cruiserweight Championship. For several years, he made various appearances with the company while continuing to work on the independents. In 2016, he became a trainer under the NXT brand at the Performance Center. And that's where he left his legacy there. Up until we know it now, quitting WWE. Quitting WWE. So you mean to tell me it took up until 2021 for Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon to take over NXT for this man to quit training at the Performance Center, which he loved dearly, which he said was the highlight of his career, that he's proud to be a small part of that he promised that he would never be a part of something solely for the paycheck, because that's where I was at. I was just there collecting a paycheck, but I wasn't happy anymore. Why weren't you happy? Because of the people that have now removed Triple H from power and have taken over control of NXT. You mean to tell me it took Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon to take over control solely of NXT for you to leave? That if Triple H was still there, this man wouldn't have gone to Facebook and asked for his release from the company. Triple H, family. He wanted everybody to be a family. Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard now are pushing out every single thing that Triple H has built in that Performance Center and built as far as NXT is concerned. You mean to tell me this guy didn't ask for his release for 1 second? 1 second on the Triple H. All it does is take Bruce and Vince to ruin it, and then he asks for his release. If you don't think that's the reason why he asked for his release, you're an ignorant fucking idiot. Scotty Hotty is gone because NXT is dead, and he knows it. Guys, let's check the chat, man. Let's check the chat. We got 1,900 plus in the venue. I appreciate you guys very much. Continue to hit that thumbs up, man. We're 40 likes away from we're 40 likes away from 1,000. We got 960 likes right now on the live stream. Make sure you guys go and hit that thumbs up if you have not done so. Continue to get those super chats in as well. We will hang out at the end of the show. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications and hit that join button down below. Make sure you guys become a VIP right here on Off the Script. Guys, we are going to take a little bit of a break. If you guys wanted to see how the intro has become a new thing on the podcast, my team over at Deviate Designs put this little montage together. I want to show you guys the extensive work and how cool it is, how they put together the Mustang driving to the venue intro. So this is from my boys over at Deviate Designs. If you guys need any work done like I have done here on the show, they are the absolute best at what they do. Let's take a look at how the intro became a thing right here on the podcast. Fucking awesome, man. Love my boys over at Deviate Designs. Awesome, awesome stuff. And this is only the beginning, man. We're going to be adding to this world of the venue, beer, music, heavy metal, hard rock. I love what we've accomplished here, and I got those guys to thank. So thank you to Nick and his team completely on all the work they've done here on the podcast. Shout out to my sponsor for today's show as well. This is BlueChew.com. You guys know about Blue Chew, man. Confidence can take you far in life. Confidence is the reason why I'm the number one show in the entire community, man. I know how good I am, and that's what makes Off the Script number one. It can also help you guys in the bedroom, especially when it comes to stepping up to the plate whenever that opportunity arises, man. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You guys can take them anytime, day or night, so you can even plan ahead, be ready when that opportunity arises. And the process is very simple, guys. All you have to do is sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their online medical providers, and once you guys are approved, you will receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA. They are prepared and shipped direct to your door in a very discreet package. So if you guys can benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, why not give Blue Chew a go? And I've got a special deal for all my listeners today. Try Blue Chew for free when you use promo code JD at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping and handling. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code JD to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And I want to thank them for once again sponsoring the podcast here on episode 398 of Off the Script. We're going to get into the ratings report, guys. Ratings and then AEW news. I know you guys are interested in the AEW news. I got a ton of it. Let's get into the ratings. SmackDown drew a 2.064 rating. This was for the final Survivor Series build on Fox. That's down from the 2.104 million the show did the previous week. I don't have this week's numbers because that won't be available till Monday. The 18 to 49 demographic for the go-home show for Survivor Series did a 0.52, down from a 0.56 a week prior. The show drew the lowest demo since October 8th on Fox. SmackDown has been worse than Raw. I actually said last night, I honestly think the way things go right now, and this is sad because I think all their shows are fucking terrible. NXT's probably their best show still, even though that show is terrible on a week-to-week basis, and it's not anything I remember it being, and they completely butchered the brand. NXT, I would say Raw is better than SmackDown. And that, it pains me to say. It pains me to say. SmackDown is terrible. It reminds me of what Raw was before the latest draft. It's awful. It's not appointment television. They used to be okay. Now Friday night when I go live is my least favorite night of the entire week. NXT. This Tuesday's episode rebounded from drawing a record low key demo rating on the USA Network last week. The ratings for NXT 2.0 are this week 622,000 live viewers, which is up from 574,000 viewers the show did a week ago. It did a 0.14 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. The show did a 0.11 rating 1 week ago. It ranked number 31 in the cable top 150 shows for the night, which is up from number 55 1 week ago. NXT, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. There were some good matches on that show. The triple threat with Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and Carmelo Hayes was decent. They set up the War Games match for the men, which I can't fucking stand. I think that whole new school versus old school mentality is very blatant. I can't get behind it for the symbolic reasons of it. And then we had that match with Tommaso Ciampa in the beginning of the show with Grayson Waller. That was a very good match as well. But NXT remains largely terrible. They got some things on the show that I like. I like Tony D'Angelo. I think he's fucking great. Ciampa's always been great. Carmelo Hayes is very good. Pete Dunne, I've been a fan of for many years. Johnny Gargano's still there. You know, we make fun of him, but I think Von Wagner has what it takes in the ring to be really good. He just got to develop a personality. Imperium's there. The grizzled young veterans are there. I'm enjoying Joe Gacy and Harland, a.k.a. Parker Boudreaux. I think that act is coming into its own very nicely. There are things to like. Cora Jade is great. Mandy Rose has recreated herself. There are things to like, but it's just the fucking writing is so silly. It's Monday Night Raw with real great talent. It's Monday Night Raw on Tuesday night. I don't need a Monday Night Raw 2.0. We get enough Monday night on Monday night. I want to watch NXT. I want to watch an adult-like show. That's what I want to watch. NXT doesn't come off as an adult-like show. It comes off childish. And I don't like what they've done to the show. That's just me. Monday Night Raw, their ratings are largely the same. The show's always awful. According to Showbuzz Daily, Monday Night Raw this past Monday did 1.699. That is up from a 1.584. I guess the fallout from Survivor Series kind of aided in that. They'll go back to being a 1.5 this coming week. The 18 to 49 demo saw the average of 0.49, which is up actually from a 0.42. And that is the best key demo rating the show has done since the 0.52 rating on October 4th. Raw ranked number 6 in the top 150 shows on cable for the night, which was up from number 7. The NFL game was atop the charts in the key demo, and they did 11.8 million viewers on ESPN and ESPN2. Monday Night Raw was built around who stole Vince McMahon's egg. The Cleopatra egg that Vince McMahon was gifted from Dwayne Johnson. Austin Theory was the one who stole it. Vince McMahon took great pride in Austin Theory stealing the egg because he thought that he had balls to do so, and he didn't back away from it. He took a chance on himself, and then he rewarded Austin Theory with a fucking title shot for stealing the egg against Big E. So now we think and sit and ponder that all people have to do is steal something from Vince McMahon to get a fucking title shot in WWE. Awful, awful, awful writing. Child's writing. What a child's program Monday Night Raw and WWE has become. And it's more apparent now than ever before. Rampage. The live viewership numbers for Rampage are in for not yesterday's show, because I won't have those numbers till Monday, but the week ago. 556,000 viewers and a 0.22 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. The week prior did a 515,000 viewership with a 0.2 rating. Rampage ranked number 17 in the top 150 shows on cable for the night, down from last week's number 13 ranking. Last week's show was the lowest total viewership and key demo rating since October 8th, with 508,000 viewers and a 0.17 rating, which marked the lowest total viewership in the history of AEW Rampage. The show isn't good. People want my opinion on Rampage. The show is not must-watch. It's not Dynamite. So I don't give a fuck about what you think of AEW or Rampage. Oh, Rampage is failing, man. Continue to say that. Rampage is not Dynamite. Rampage is on Friday night. Rampage is on Friday night at 10 p.m. It's not supposed to draw a big rating. When they move the show to a Tuesday or Thursday on a normal night, that's either a lead-in or a lead-out from Dynamite at 8 p.m., and the show goes from being taped to live, and it becomes must-see, and Tony Khan turns it into their version of SmackDown because Dynamite is their Raw, that's when people will watch. Right now, it's nothing but an extension of AEW television. Right now, it comes off as an extension of AEW Dark. That's all it is. I don't give a fuck about the ratings for Rampage. They will turn Rampage into the true B show, the true number 2 show when the time is right. And that's when we have to start paying attention to what Tony Khan does with Rampage. But nobody's going to watch Rampage at 10 p.m. on Friday night. I don't care. If I didn't have to watch it, I would not watch it. I'm being brutally honest with you guys. I would not watch it. Dynamite is enough for me. Speaking of Dynamite, the Thanksgiving episode, the pre-Thanksgiving episode, took a little bit of a hit. But obviously, because of Thanksgiving, people were traveling. Wrestling wasn't a big deal. But man, oh man, they missed one of the best, if not one of the best promos ever between CM Punk and MJF. It's easily the best promo in all of AEW history, maybe one of the best promos in wrestling history, period. AEW brought the episode of Dynamite right before Thanksgiving, and it's a very sticky spot to have. A lot of people are traveling, people are getting ready for the holidays. The report came in from Andrew Zarian of Mat Men Pro Wrestling Podcast, and Andrew reported that Dynamite garnered 809,000 live viewers for their November 24th episode. Of that number, 344,000 viewers were in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. The November 17th episode of Dynamite brought in an overnight average of 984,000 live viewers. That was the fallout for Full Gear. They also took in a 0.37 in the 18 to 49 demographic. So, Dynamite, it is what it is. If you guys want to dive deeper into the MJF and CM Punk thing, 2 million views. AEW uploaded the entire promo between CM Punk and MJF on their YouTube channel, and it got 2 million views. Nobody's talking about that number, though. That's a big deal. Everybody knows what happened with those two guys, and they're going to watch when those guys are back on television. So it's pretty much a foreshadowing of what's to come. It's Thanksgiving. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Nobody's watching wrestling. All wrestling this week was largely awful. Dynamite was easily the best show. Dynamite was a great show on Wednesday night. The rating doesn't show it. But that CM Punk and MJF segment that they uploaded to the YouTube channel, 2 million views. One of the best segments you'll watch probably ever. Between two guys who are fucking masters of their craft. Andrade. Nothing has been reported since, but Andrade apparently is not following Charlotte Flair on social media anymore. Fans recently picked up that Andrade is not following Charlotte on Twitter anymore or Instagram. What this means exactly is still unknown, as nothing's come out about it. And since neither Flair or Andrade have publicly confirmed their relationship status, speculation continues to run wild if they are still together or not. They've been a couple since 2019 and announced their engagement in January 2020, as Andrade proposed on New Year's Eve. As of this writing, Flair is currently following Andrade on Instagram, but not on Twitter. The last time Andrade posted a photo of Flair on Instagram was early in September. Back on November 3rd, Charlotte wished Andrade a happy birthday. I don't know. I'm not here to deliver the TMZ news break, but it's in the news. Apparently, they are one of pro wrestling's power couples. It's a pretty big deal if they split. You know, a lot of people were like, well, Andrade and Charlotte could end up in AEW. Everybody from her family is egging her on to leave WWE and try and get out of her contract. I don't know what happened there. It's none of our business. I don't know if this has been rectified since, and they, since this report, have now followed each other back on social media. I don't know what this means. I don't. I'm not about to dive into the news. Whatever is reported, when it's reported about their possible getting back together or breakup, that's when I'll report it. But I find this to be very interesting that they are not following each other on social media. And everything nowadays has to take place on social media. So when something like this happens, there is a group of people that find out about it because they don't have lives of their own and they meddle in other people's affairs. So whatever happens, happens. But it's a pretty big deal because they've been one of the most publicized couples in all of pro wrestling. And if something happens, I would say it's a pretty big deal if they end up leaving each other. I don't know. Dynamite. Apparently, Cody Rhodes, after the main event was over, Dynamite in Chicago, fans started yelling slurs at Cody Rhodes. Now, the tag team match, the 8-man tag on Dynamite, was very fun. And at one point during the match, Cody Rhodes took off his weight belt, tossed it into the crowd like he does during most of his matches. However, this time, the fan that caught the belt threw it back in the ring after being egged on by other fans to throw the belt back at Cody Rhodes. On TV, everything seemed harmless, and the rowdy fans added to the broadcast But apparently, a few fans got out of hand during the Cody Rhodes hate. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that he received a report from a fan in attendance that said a slur was thrown at Rhodes by a few fans. Meltzer says, and I quote, "So this is a report from someone who was there. On Cody, live there were actually many, if not more people cheering or booing. But the people booing were really, really loud and obnoxious. It actually did get quite ugly. There were people who were chanting retard at Cody, and people started booing. It was a pretty bad scene during the main event in the crowd," end quote. So they started to throw the word retard around at Cody Rhodes. Fine. So Wednesday's crowd reaction was reminiscent of some of the mixed reactions that John Cena would get at shows, and John Cena's name has been thrown around on social media in comparison to Cody Rhodes. He's got that John Cena hate. People love him. People hate him. And there's no in between. And listen, you know, fans are going to do what fans do. AEW fans, I honestly don't see AEW fans as being disrespectful towards anything, but I do think this is a little out of line. I mean, Cody is doing his absolute best to try and blur the lines of what is going on here. Rhodes has stated several times in interviews that he's got no plans to turn heel, that it would be too easy for him, and he plans on retiring a babyface. After Dynamite went off the air, he teased the Chicago fans when he almost went through the heel tunnel, and he ended up going through the babyface tunnel. Now, Cody Rhodes actually reactivated his Twitter account as well after deleting it or suspending it, closing it down for a little bit. Rhodes took to Instagram on November 25th to explain what would be happening with his Twitter account, and he revealed that the Twitter account would be reopened, but it would be handed over to AEW's community outreach team. His Instagram story reads, and I quote, "I know some folks are upset that I deactivated my Twitter account, but I don't intend to let 1 million plus followers just go away. So I'm really happy to give my followers and reactivate the handle to the AEW community outreach team. As seen already, it's a wonderful group who aims to do something in every market. Whether the cameras are on or off, no matter how big or small, just good people doing good things for each other. Enjoy it. Happy Thanksgiving. I love you all." Cody Rhodes is a fucking heel. He knows he's a heel, and the fact that he doesn't admit he's a heel pretty much states that he's a heel, and the crowd is going to react to a heel in a very heel-like way that isn't giving them what they want. Cody Rhodes is doing a masterful job at what he's doing. Now, I don't really advocate for going to shows and throwing language around, racial slurs or any slurs at all. I mean, a fucking asshole, a jerk off, you fucking prick. That's fine by me. I use that language in everyday fucking life. But, I mean, if you're going to start hurling really terrible shit at these guys for them doing such a great job, I guess that means Cody Rhodes is doing his job masterfully. And I'm surprised the AEW fans can't pick that up. Most of the audience does. It seems like it was just a small, very small pocket of fans in Chicago. Those people are complete fucking idiots. So we'll see what Cody Rhodes does in the future, man. But I'm loving what he's doing, man. I love the lines that he's teasing, and I think he's doing a great job. Cody Rhodes, I said this on Wednesday, if all the people don't realize what he's doing, you got to get on board, man. If there's one guy in that company that knows what he needs to do to get a reaction, it is Cody Rhodes. I honestly think Cody Rhodes loves the reaction he's getting. I do. He knows he's pissing people off. There's going to come a time when he's going to have to pull the trigger, really, you know what? Fuck the fans, shit on the fans. You don't want this to end up being a Roman Reigns situation where they didn't pull the plug, or pull the trigger, I should say, on Roman Reigns and turn him into a fucking legit heel. Cody Rhodes right now is acting as a babyface, and he's getting heel reaction. You got to really just play into it and own up to it. Honestly. Don't follow the Roman Reigns route. I do think he knows what he's doing, and I do think when the time is right, he will end up pulling the trigger. Jim Ross, he's going to be off Dynamite for the next couple of weeks. Ross will be undergoing 22 radiation treatments over the next few weeks, and he hopes to return on December 29th in Jacksonville, Florida. Ross tweeted, "Due to my skin cancer totaling 22 radiation treatments starting on Monday, I will hopefully return to the announce desk on December 29th in Jacksonville. Tony Khan supports me on this strategy, which has been a blessing. My thanks for all of your support," end quote. So on behalf of me, we all love JR. Hopefully he beats this thing and he's back doing what he loves to do on Dynamite, play-by-play on AEW, and he will be back at the end of December. So good luck to Jim Ross. Our thoughts and prayers with JR. The Young Bucks have apparently signed new contracts with AEW. It was reported that they signed new deals that will last through 2026. But in an update, Brian Alvarez actually corrected this, and the pair signed a 2-year extension to their existing deal that they signed in 2019. The 2-year extension means that the Bucks are signed to AEW until 2024 and not 2026. More money for Matt and Nick Jackson. They are the face of the company. This is not news. This is not anything anybody should be surprised by. They will go nowhere. They are going to be AEW for life. So it's not really all that much of a concern where they're going, and they will be with AEW for the duration until they retire. They're not going anywhere. Possible date for Revolution. AEW just closed out their 2021 pay-per-view schedule with Full Gear, but they did not announce during the Full Gear broadcast about the location and the name of their next event, which I think we can all assume is Revolution. Over the last 2 years, the event has taken place in February. However, Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the show is rumored to be the first weekend of March, likely March 6th, and he is saying that it's possibly going to end up taking place at the Amway Arena in Orlando, Florida. This would be a Sunday show, which falls in line with what AEW has done in the past, except for its Full Gear pay-per-view, which was held on a Saturday night, as Tony Khan doesn't like going up against the NFL. The Amway Arena was the home of the WWE Thunderdome for a while. It was also noted that if AEW goes through with this date and venue, then they wouldn't be able to do their usual thing of holding a pay-per-view edition of Rampage the Friday beforehand in the same venue, as the arena already has a concert booked for that Friday. Orlando's fun. Orlando's fun. I'm not sure I would actually make it out to Orlando, but I have to see what's going on for Revolution. I think it's going to be a major show because AEW, and I predicted this, Jesse has predicted this on Wednesday's show. I think we are both on the same page here. I honestly see either Revolution or Double or Nothing being the show in which Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa main event the show. And I do think I'm leaning towards Revolution. Tony Khan, according to Dave Meltzer, has a huge plan for Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa being the big match for Revolution next year. He says, and I quote, "I always suspect that there's a big Britt Baker Thunder Rosa match coming early next year. I think that's always been the plan for Tony Khan. So that would probably be the March pay-per-view." End quote. This is great. And if AEW wants to make a big splash with their women's division, which I think will look vastly different by the time we get to March 2022, I honestly think this is the right way to go about it. Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, women's title main event. The last time they were in the ring together, they had a unsanctioned lights out match that ended up being one of the best matches that AEW put on all last year. You clearly have to follow it up somehow with a match that's going to outdo that one. You're not going to do a regular one-on-one match. You're not going to do a one-on-one match for the title with no stipulation. You put those women in the main event at Revolution with the Women's Championship on the line, and you put them in a steel cage, and you make history. That's the way it needs to be done. I honestly think a steel cage match with both of those women inside and no other women getting involved, letting them go out there and give us the match that we need for this women's division. Crowning Thunder Rosa the new women's champion, I think, will be historic for AEW. And like I said, the women's division is probably going to look a lot different than it does now because you got Taya Valkyrie out there, you got Tegan Nox out there, you got Ember Moon out there, and those women, you bring them in and you make them a priority, you give AEW instantly next year the opportunity to have the best women's division in all of pro wrestling. I think that's the way to go about it. And Thunder Rosa even mentioned Ember Moon. She said on Ember Moon, WWE didn't even give her the platform that she deserved. She was actually on Busted Open Radio and mentioned Ember Moon. So this may be a little seed planted that Tony Khan is thinking about bringing in Athena, Ember Moon, to AEW. She said on Ember Moon, and I quote, "I mean, I've worked with Taya before many times in Lucha Underground. Ember Moon, I have not had the opportunity to work with her. She's like one of the Dallas veterans, Texas veterans. And she worked for so long in NXT, and I don't think they gave her the platform that she deserves. She's so good. She's so underrated. So I hopefully get the opportunity to work with her. It would be a banger. She is really good." End quote. Ember Moon was released, one of the stars released on November 4th after spending 6 years with the company. It is believed she has a 90-day non-compete. She was on NXT, got moved to the main roster, then got moved to NXT. So I'm assuming that in between that move from the main roster back to NXT, they didn't give her a 30-day non-compete. She's probably still under the 90-day main roster non-compete, so we won't see her until at least February. So I think that Tegan Nox, Taya Valkyrie, I'd put them in order of Ember Moon, Tegan Nox, and Taya Valkyrie. You bring all three of them in. You don't got to bring all three of them in at the same time, but bring all three of them in, and AEW will instantly have a women's division that is better than WWE's. Seriously. I think that's the way to go about it. And Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, main event, Revolution, Steel Cage. Sign me the fuck up, man. Thunder Rosa becoming the new AEW Women's Champion, and a new age of the women's division in AEW will finally take place. Awesome, awesome stuff. Guys, that is all I got, man. That is all the news that I have for you today. We got a lot done today, man. I thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Saturday evenings. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Continue to hit that thumbs up. We got 1,136 likes. Let's try for 1,200. Let's see if we can get to 1,200 before we get out of here. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Continue to hit that join button. Become a VIP and join me right here on Off the Script as a channel member. And get those super chats in, man. We're going to go over the super chats in just a second, so get them on in. It's last call here at the OTS venue. And once again, thank you to my sponsor for today's show, Blue Chew, BlueChew.com. Make sure you guys go use that code JD at checkout to get your free sample of Blue Chew service. All you guys have to do is pay the shipping and handling. And please don't forget your t-shirts, man. Bonfire.com. Get your NWO-inspired white and black and Wolfpack colors, the OTS in white, and the LTB long-term booking in the Wolfpack colors. That is bonfire.com. Let's get into the super chats, man. We're going to start at the top here. We got a $1.99 from Negan, the Savior Smith. He says, "Hey, you're the best at what you do. Keep it up, man." Negan. I know, bro. I know, man. We got CK920 becoming a new member on Off the Script. What are you drinking, CK? Round is on me. We also got a new membership from Edward Serenson. Edward, what are you drinking, brother? What are you drinking? Deshaun Turner re-ups his membership for 9 months now. Thank you, Deshaun. Raging Girl Gamer told me to order a Colt 45. That's the way to go. Then Hologram told me, no, a light bud is what I should order. How you doing, man? I'm not doing good if those are your two beer choices, Deshaun. I'll tell you that right now. Who the fuck drinks Colt 45? Who drinks Bud Light? Degenerates drink Bud Light. Now, you can drink whatever the fuck you want. I don't serve that shit here. You're not going to find those. Hula Brim should know and Rage should know, man. She spent a lot of time at the fucking bar drunk. She should know what's on the menu by now. Shakoy with the $2 super chat. Who would you say is better at short-term booking? WWE is better at no-term booking. AEW. Troy Turner becomes an 11-month VIP. Thank you, Troy Turner. You're the best of what you do, JD. Keep it up, man. Troy, I know, bro. I know, bro. You ain't telling me nothing I don't know already, bro. Thank you, man. Ulysses with the $2 super chat. I don't know why I thought LTB meant lotion in the basket. No. It says it right on the shirt, Ulysses. Long-term booking. It's spelled out for you. I'm not getting a Von Wagner shirt done. Maybe I'll surprise you. I don't know. You guys are ridiculous, man. Jonathan Gastello becomes a member for 9 months, re-upping his membership. Thank you, Jonathan. Next 3 days off. My AEW flag and House of Black t-shirt coming in today. And to top it off, a live OTS right after work. A great Saturday for sure. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate you, brother. Someone in the chat says, I actually know people who drink Colt 45. They are probably the lowest of the low, bro. Their drinks of choice is quite sad. I don't know who enjoys Colt 45, man. I really don't. You got to get some variety in your life, man. You got to get some real beer on those taste buds. Colt 45, no way. Jared, thank you, Jonathan. We got a 99-cent and then a $4.99 super chat from King. I think Brock will beat Roman Reigns at Day 1 or Royal Rumble. I think that would be the worst creative decision of all time. We got a $1.99 super chat from Nick Khan. He says, you just made me want to release more superstars. Oh my goodness. Vernon F with a $10 super chat. John Laurinaitis snorts people powder. Thank you, Vernon. Everybody loves some Johnny Ace. We got another $1.99 super chat from Nick Khan. UFC is nothing compared to WWE. We are the best, he says. Nick Khan is clearly drunk this evening. Ulysses Smith with 2 $5 super chats. First one reads, I don't know if you agree, but to me, Jamie Hayter is the Tony Storm of AEW as far as the looks department is concerned. There may be in-ring skill. Imagine them as a tag team. And then he says, in the second one, out of the women, even if they are signed, who would you love to see in AEW to help their division? For me, it's Deonna Purrazzo, Sasha Banks, and Io Shirai. Ulysses, I'm not answering that question because all of those women are set where they are. The women that will help AEW are the ones that are free agents. Ember Moon, Taya Valkyrie, and Tegan Nox. That's it. It's unrealistic to think about a Deonna Purrazzo and a Sasha Banks going to AEW. Those things may never happen. Kratos with a $5 super chat. I dealt with catfish accounts for 1.5 years. You know what I do? I block the accounts immediately. Bro, all you have to do is add a little logic and common sense to what you're doing on social media. You should know what is catfish and what is not. Derek Tucker with a $4.99 super chat. JD, how will WWE have a 2-9 WrestleMania with this roster? Oh, they will. They better. Two-night WrestleMania is best for business. Trey Van Garrick with a $4.99 super chat. I wonder if I can trick some idiot wrestling fan into giving me money. I don't advise it, Trey Van Garrick. Also, what do you think about Queens of the Stone Age? Not a fan. Scott Woodford with a $4.99 super chat. Roman still doesn't feel important either. Well, you clearly don't know the definition of important, Scott. Roman is the only important aspect of the show. You can see in the booking of how WWE has booked Roman Reigns. Seriously. You got to watch the show a little bit better, guys. You got to watch the show a little bit better. Mark Elaine Lazaro with a 50 in what I believe is rupees. I believe. I could be wrong. You plan on getting a JD degree. You remind me of Eddie Kingston. I don't know what you mean by that, bro. I don't plan on getting a degree in anything. This is my job, bro. This is my full-time gig. Arden 24 with a $2 super chat. Danhausen must be all elite. I'm not familiar with Danhausen. I've seen him on social media. I don't know how he wrestles. But we have somebody that is very similar to Danhausen in AEW. His name is Darby Allin. We don't need another guy that looks exactly like and wrestles exactly like a Darby Allin. Derek with a $4.99 super chat. I know your take on dual brands, but AEW may need it if they want to get all these guys. AEW's not getting split rosters. We don't know how many of the old guard, the old first-time signees are about to be let go, man, because of free agency. We don't know. Ricardo Linnell with a $19.99 super chat. The IWC is jealous of you, JD. Are they really? I don't know. I can't tell. What are they jealous of? We only have the best looking fucking show in the entire community, the best sounding show in the community. I don't know. What are they jealous of? How else do you explain them willfully ignoring the facts that you spit weekly? Because they're a bunch of fucking idiots. That's why. Vince, Bruce, Nick Khan, and John Laurinaitis are soulless pricks for what they are doing to Triple H by destroying NXT and BG. Ricardo, everybody ignores what I say, man. Never will I be right to anybody. I will always be wrong. Always be wrong. Raging Texas 85. JD, I would love to see some JD Christmas shirts for Christmas someday. Prayers for a safe holiday season this year, on Monday Night Raw. Let me read this without all the emojis in between. JD, I would love to see some JD Christmas t-shirts for Christmas someday. Prayers for a safe holiday season this year. See you on Monday. Thank you, Raging Texas 85. I appreciate it, bro. No Christmas shirts. I'm the fucking Grinch, bro. You should know that by now. Dre James with a $5 super chat. What if Triple H and Stephanie McMahon started their own promotion? No. Not happening, bro. It is not happening. If Triple H and Stephanie McMahon started their own promotion, man, I honestly think it would take off. I really do. There's enough free agents out there for them to sign. Do they have the money backing behind it? I don't know. I don't think they want to spend their fucking time spending their money on another wrestling promotion to do what? Compete against Vince McMahon? No. I think it would be a complete waste of their time. Triple H tried it. We have faith in Triple H. Triple H is the guy that should be leading WWE. I have faith in him wholeheartedly to do it. He ran NXT beautifully. Everything they did under his watch was the way it should have been done. And they removed him because of that very reason. Christian Rivera, wow, I missed a live OTS. Oh, I mean, I only tweeted it out on Twitter 3 fucking times today, and I put an Instagram story out. I mean, what the fuck you guys want me to do? I even posted a fucking message on the message boards on YouTube. Whose fault is that? Turn the fucking bell on. Chico Channel 7 with a $1.99 super chat. JD Mang, you ever yearn, Chico? I yearn hard. I don't know what the fuck you're hinting at, Chico, but thank you for your $1.99, bro. I don't know what the fuck you're on, Chico, but thank you for your $1.99. Legendary KD with a $5 super chat. Hey, JD, hope you're doing well. I haven't watched wrestling in years, and I want to ask, what is WWE's and AEW's best match of the year? Best match of the year for WWE is the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge. And AEW's best match of the year is probably Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson at Dynamite Grand Slam. It could be a mixture of anything, man. AEW's had a ton of matches. I mean, you could do that. You could do the steel cage match from All Out between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. Take your pick, man. MJF versus Darby Allin. AEW's going to have more best matches of the year in pro wrestling's top matches of the year than WWE is going to have. But take your pick. I mean, Omega, Bryan, the Bucks, Lucha Brothers. Any one of those will do, for sure. Guys, we are all but done tonight on the podcast. We are all but done on the podcast, man. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight, man. I really do. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. Hollywood Lifer with a $19.99 super chat. Just want to thank you for what you do, JD. This week has been rough for me and my family as we wait for my mother's passing. I've been listening to your show more than ever, and I find real comfort that I need these days. Hollywood Lifer. I'm throwing them up for you, brother. Everybody in the chat, throw out those prayer emojis for Hollywood Lifer, man. My thoughts and prayers to you and your family. Thank you for your generosity, brother. I'll be here always, man. I'll be here always. Guys, I want to thank you so very much for joining me on your Saturday nights here live for episode 398 of the podcast. I appreciate you guys, man. I will be back live again on Monday with the Raw live stream post show, as always, right here from the venue. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. Tribal Chief with a Canadian $5 super chat. What's your go-to drink, appetizer, main, and dessert at the bar? Also, what are some recommendations for Christmas beverages? The only thing I could recommend, my friend, is Mad Elf by Trogs. It's the best Christmas beer you could possibly find. And my appetizer, man, I love me some chicken wings. I love me some mozzarella sticks. I love me some pan-fried dumplings, bro. Some tacos. Can't go wrong with some tacos, man. I'm about to open up a fucking cold beer when I get down to the kitchen. I'll tell you that right now. But listen, guys. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you for being here tonight. Continue to hit that thumbs up. Continue to hit that subscribe button down below and become a channel member right here on OTS. I'll see you guys back live on Monday. But before I get out of here and hit the highway, man, I need two things from you guys right now. I need, number one, those guitar emojis. And if you got them, if you're VIPs, I need those Mustang emojis in the chat. And number two, when that guitar solo comes on, I need that music on max. I'll see you guys on Monday with Raw live right here on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later. Bye.